This is how to replace the suspension pads on a Whirlpool or Kenmore direct drive washer. The first step to completing this repair is we'll need to remove the cabinet, and to do that we'll have to open the controls panel. And on this particular one there are 2 screws on the front here that we will remove. Once you remove those screws, you can take this control panel, flip it forward and then up to reveal the components we need to access here. Sometimes you'll find on machines that the screws might be located in the rear of the console. Either that, or they might be covered under plastic end caps that you'll need to remove with a screwdriver to gain access to that. And if you have a newer machine that doesn't use screws, it instead uses clips here that fit into the side like this, then you just take a putty knife or something thin that will fit under there and insert it and pop those clips loose on either side, and that'll release the clips, allowing you to open the control panel and gain access to what you need to get to. Then take a flathead screwdriver. There are 2 brass clips here on either end. Stick the flathead screwdriver in the front of the clip like this, push back like that to allow it to spring back and pop up like that and release the cabinet. Then you can disconnect your lid switch connector right here with the flat blade of the screwdriver like that to allow you to unplug it. And once that's done, now you can remove the cabinet. Generally it's easiest if you open the lid like this and then grab the front lip under here and pull forward, tilt it like this toward you about 45 degrees, and then pull it off the frame and set it aside. This is the new part we'll be replacing today, and right there is the part number for it, if you can see where my thumb is pointing. It is a Whirlpool part, and this is what they look like for future reference, and that's what we'll be replacing right now. Now you can go ahead and replace the pads. And the easiest way I have found to do this without having to take a bunch of stuff out is take your hand and just take the tub and tilt it away from the side you are going to work on, which, if you see where I'm pointing the screwdriver, this is where, right here is where the pads we're replacing today will be located. And once you move the tub and this little apparatus is out of the way, you can take a screwdriver and pry under where the pad sits and pop it out of the base like that and remove it, and then you're ready to install the new pads. Hopefully you can be able to see now at this angle right here. There's one hole right here and then another hole right there. So you're going to take your new snubber pad, and you'll notice these pegs on the bottom of it sticking out are going to face down like that, and then you'll line those pegs up with the 2 holes on the frame. And bear in mind, you'll do this of course as you're holding the tub out of the way. Then something you can try if you don't feel like taking the tub out is take this piece of wood that you're using to prop the tub over, place it on top of the new pad you just installed. So you'll have to maneuver it so it's in position, of course. Move it so that it's on one side of the pad, so you can push it down on one end and then do it on the next, and then just use your pressure to essentially push it down so the peg fits into and locks into the holes on the support. And there's one pad installed on one side. And then on the right side of the machine, it'll basically be the same procedure. And in this case, it'll be easiest to tilt the tub essentially that way, so kind of towards the front left-hand corner of the machine, kind of like this. And then you'll take your piece of wood, stick it through there, and hold it there so it props the machine up out of the way. And then grab your screwdriver, and you'll get the well, in this case, the remaining pieces of the old snubber pad out of there by prying it up as needed. This the snubber pad on this side of the machine is broken in two, and in fact it's actually pretty much just about totally disintegrated, so there's hardly anything left of it. And I mean, in fact, if I can find it here wherever it went, if it won't come out so easily with the blade of the screwdriver, then what you can do is like take the butt end of the screwdriver and just tap it out until it comes out. Like that. And take your new pad, of course, and just like before, line it up with the two holes. It'll be obvious to you when you see where it lines up, and then using the piece here on one end to push down so it pops one side of that into place, and then same thing on the other end. Use the pressure to snap that into place, just like that. And then last but not least is this piece here on the back side. This one will be a little bit more tricky to maneuver the tub so it can be propped. So what you're going to do is grab this back suspension spring bracket. Just be careful of any sharp edges. Grab it and then lift that up like so. And once again, using that same piece of wood to prop it up. Okay, and then same thing on this one. Pry it out. Then place your new one in like so. Line it up. And once again, maneuvering your wood piece over to push it down in on either sides, just like so. Then once you are determined that piece is set in the frame, then you can set the tub down, let it rest. And when you do rest the tub back down, make sure that this triangular piece, which as you can tell goes across there, the face of it, make sure it's sitting basically perpendicular to this bottom support frame right here. Just make sure the face of that is essentially flush with this part of the frame, like so, and all three corners of the skid plate, as this is called, basically line up with the three frame corners. So basically, are the three support legs, as you will. You can see that corner lines up like so, and it'll be the same thing in the back. And then that's it. Now you can go ahead and put the cabinet back on. Sometimes you may find what ends up happening too with moving the tub around is you'll knock the spout out of its place, and in fact it's probably actually a better idea to just go ahead and remove the fill spout before beginning to do the repair underneath, so that way it doesn't become an obstruction or anything like that. But if you do forget and it comes out, the way you reinstall it in the back panel is just insert the top of the spout tabs back here into these slots, top side first, and then squeeze the bottom sides of the tabs inward. Depending on your machine, it may be the reverse. You'll have to just see how the slots are oriented in the back panel. But it may be the reverse, to where you actually have to bend them outwards instead of inwards. It just, every model varies, but in any case, that's how you put the spout back in if that case should arise for your situation. Bring it in. It's essentially the reverse of how you took it off before, except for one minor detail, which I'll show you right up close here. So essentially, the way I'm putting this cabinet back on is the reverse of having taken it off, except for one small yet crucial detail, and it is important you remember to do this each time you have to take this off and put it back on. So you notice this lip of the cabinet on the bottom right here, this white lip, and then you notice this rail in front here that goes across of the base frame. You want to make sure that that lip of the cabinet slides underneath that rail, because that's the way it's supposed to sit on the frame. And then the sides, you notice there are these little square slots. There's two in the front here and then two in the back as well that will mesh with small tabs on the base frame of the machine. So you want to make sure those line up, and if you have to use your foot to push the cabinet back in to make it easier, just like that, so it lines up, push your foot on the bottom of the front of the cabinet, and then make sure it's shoved all the way in there, and then line those holes up with those tabs on the cabinet. Sometimes they might be bent down, and if that's the case, you just gotta take a screwdriver or a hammer or whatever you need and just bend them back up. They're small little tabs, so they won't be that hard to bend back up into where they're normally supposed to be. So, and then once you have that, then you can tilt the cabinet back and reinstall it for good. It is also imperative when you're reinstalling this cabinet, to make sure that the back sides of the cabinet here are pushed all the way against the ends of the back panel here, and make sure it is all the way seated on the bottom frame rail right here, which again is that'll come as part of making sure those tabs line up on the holes of the cabinet frame. And then same thing on the other side, of course. If you need to pick it with your foot as you're setting it in place to help set it where it needs to go, then you know you got to do, obviously you got to do what you got to do. And of course for me, in my case, it's easier to show you this since I have a wide open space where I can actually demonstrate this. It'll be, you know, depending on your laundry area setup, you'll have to just go with what works the easiest and best for you. But ideally you would have a way to be able to do this easily enough. So if that's the way it worked in the real world. Now with the cabinet reset back onto the frame of everything, you can go ahead and take the 2 brass clips and insert them. They insert into these little slots here on the back panel. The tail goes in up like that, and then you press down with your palm until it locks into place. You'll feel it snap down when it does. And the same thing on this one, press down and lock it into place. Don't forget to connect your lid switch wire Molex connector, and it'll just push down and you'll hear a click when it locks in, just like that. Then your control panel flips down, and there are tabs on either end that go into essentially these 2 holes on either side. And once you line those up, just like that, until it's seated all the way down, then take your 2 Phillips screws and screw them in. Of course, only until they're snug. And then once you've done that, that is the end of the repair. Congratulations, and you can now use your machine in confidence that it will work correctly now. And I hope this video helped you out. If it did, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe, so that way I know that this video was successful and I can continue to make more of these in the future. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.